Good morning, everyone. When I was practicing or preparing for this session yesterday, right, I was kind of caught using AI to prepare for it. So my team member actually told me maybe they should replace me with an AI avatar. But I trust the panel here, the gentleman here, would help me do my job okay. And I also hope that the audience can help me a little bit by keeping the questions coming in over Slido. I'll make sure to include that in the questions. Help me a little bit to stay human, stay useful, and hopefully help me with my next pay negotiation. Okay? Kenya? Okay, not funny, nobody joking. Hey, I feel, still feel the AI. Okay, while we start off a little bit, maybe I can get each of our panelists here today to introduce yourself a little bit, your organization, and also maybe one thing that you see AI making a very big impact in your daily life and organization. I did a bit of stalking in the tenure of like each panelist. So I thought I will start off with Dato' Megat first, who's the longest in your company, 16 years in Tenaga, right? Correct? Also, we know Dato' Megat the longest among this panel, so yeah, please.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning. First and foremost, thank you very much once again for giving Tenaga Nasional the opportunity to share some of our focus area with respect to digital and AI today. Yeah, I think personally I've been in Tenaga for many years, and the history is that I got a scholarship from Lembaga Elektrik Negara. Some of you may not be able to recognize that. To do further studies, and then I joined Tenaga Nasional, and has seen I would say, the journey of the industry across the whole value chain of energy for Malaysia as well as the world. And as we understand today, the journey that we are embarking today is a journey from digitalization into artificial intelligence. So for Tenaga Nasional, we started the journey of digital and digitalization quite a number of years, and we have introduced all this concept and also implementation with respect to digital up to the point of the best of the digital tools in terms of RPA, robotic process automation. We believe that is the so-called the height of the digital world, where we are able to deploy modules of RPA within the operations and business of Tenaga Nasional. So today we have now another, we believe, another S-curve, the opportunity for businesses to actually adopt the next level of automation and digital, which is artificial intelligence. Meaning that the automation journey may lack those intelligence, but today we are embedding this into part and parcel of our business operation. So that is, I think, make us, Tenaga Nasional, excited with respect to the program that we have today, and happy to share many of those that we have comes after this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato' Megat. We'll deep dive into some of the initiatives that you mentioned earlier on. I think, Dr. Siu, earlier on, you nodded your head a little bit about Dato' Megat sharing from his previous curve to this curve. Maybe a little bit about yourself and also Maybank's initiative.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be able to be here to share the Maybank experience. So my name is Chan Cheong. I oversee the strategy and transformation of Maybank. And within my portfolio, I also have a team that basically looking at data analytics, AI, and also venture. We invest in digital fintechs to enhance our capabilities. Similar to Tanaga's journey, Maybank started our so-called AI or advanced data analytics journey well, before the COVID era. When we first started, obviously, we look at as much as possible to introduce new use cases or offerings to our customers. I'm glad to see that just now our SME team won an award in terms of how we integrate reconciliations with the banking software to help our customer to reduce the effort by 80%. But we also have, I think right after the COVID, we introduced things like instant approval of mortgages or SME loans so that customers can actually get their loans approved and then get the money in the account within 5 minutes. So these are the things that we have done. Now, going forward, we think AI will only give us the competitive advantage for maybe another 3 to 5 years. After that, I think it will become a table stake. So with that in mind, the senior management is thinking about how we can further accelerate so that we get as much benefits as possible in the next 3 years. So that by the time in 5 years, we expect that most people, or at least you will not get any more advantage. So we have to be very focused. And the things that we're focusing on now is rather than only looking at use cases, we are actually looking at the fundamentals. For example, data. How we create a scalable, efficient data infrastructure, not only for the data that we have within Maybank, but how we can connect to external data so that we can maximize the benefits of available technology. Because to us is technology, especially you're talking about a lot of software, hardware, LLMs, this will become commodity. It's a matter of obviously investment, but many companies will be able to access similar technologies. But the real things that really differentiate us will be data. So therefore, going forward, we're going to spend more time on fixing our basics, which is the data, and then partner with the industry players to scale up our data analytics and AI capabilities in preparation that 3 to 5 years from now, it will not become a competitive advantage.
So data and analytics and AI are the key focus for Maybank for yourself. And I think, Pedro, well, your title here says Chief Data and AI Officer. So exactly what you're working on, maybe a quick introduction to the team.
So let me see if I know how to switch this on. Hello? Can you hear me?
No.
Hello? Yes. So, well, I'm very, very happy to be here with you. In general, I try not to talk much about the bank. And I prefer to talk more about data and AI in general and how companies can take advantage of data and AI in different industries, right? And when I think about artificial intelligence, I think there are different stages that somehow every company has to follow, maybe in different orders, depending whether you are regulated, whether you are more customer focused or customer facing, or you are more operationally facing. I think there is one phase that every company has to go through, and that phase is personal productivity through AI, is deploying tools that are generic, that allow every employee to be more effective. I'm thinking about drafting emails, making minutes. I'm thinking about deep research. I'm thinking about having meetings that are recorded and you can ask questions about the meeting. Was I mentioned in this meeting? I'm thinking about these kind of things. I'm thinking about making videos maybe for training of your workforce. You can make a video with an AI actor. General productivity tools, right? That's the first phase. And it's very important because what is key here is to expand the use of these tools to as much of the workforce as possible to change the mindset of people. What is going to kill a transformation is that people on the ground don't believe in it, people on the ground are opposing it. Right? That's the first stage. Second stage, in general, is once people are used to start taking advantage of these productivity tools, you can start having companions, copilots, assistants, AI assistants for specific types of jobs, right? These are agents, but they are not autonomous. These are operated by a person, right? And here we can think of, in banking, we can think about tools for relationship managers, where you can see the leads that you have to propose to each customer. You can add questions about the products. You can create investment proposals, maybe for some customers. You can have companions for customer service agents that are helping them answer their questions. You can have copilots that are tailored for fraud investigators in banking, and in other industries you will have, for some very specific jobs, you can have specific assistants that are used by the employee. Once you are clear with this, then you go to the next stage, which is having autonomous agents. These are agents that don't require an employee to operate them. They are autonomous. They are running on their own. Of course, somebody has to supervise them, right? Of course, somebody has to supervise them. But things such as applications of many loans or many products can be done autonomously. Marketing is something that can be done completely autonomous. Most marketing campaigns in almost any industry could be very highly automated. So that's the stage where you have autonomous agents. Then you go to the next stage, and I don't think anybody's ready for this. And that's when you start having teams of agents. So instead of having one agent that is doing the marketing campaigns, you have teams of agents, and these agents are calling each other. We don't have products yet for that, but they are going to come very fast. When you are onboarding an AI employee, and you will have a Teams call with the employee telling him, well, this is what I am expecting of you. Telling him, now you need to get your credentials to access these databases. Once you have that come back, then he calls you back, and then what do I do today? And then you are talking to that person in the same way that you will be talking to a human, right? Maybe sending messages on Teams, maybe sending emails. In the same way, maybe calling that AI, that is going to come very soon. And I don't think anybody is ready for that. And at some point of these stages, companies will have to decide, when do I go direct to the customer with AI? And that's a very important decision. You want to be ready. You don't want to make mistakes in front of a customer, right? That's why most companies are starting with employee-facing cases, and then later they go to client-facing cases. If you are regulated, probably you will do that a little bit later. If you are less regulated, you will probably do that a little bit earlier. It depends on the industry, but that's a key consideration, right? So I think AI is going to completely change the way it works. I don't think anybody is ready. And I think in particular, Malaysia needs to get more ready. And that's why initiatives like these innovation awards and everything related to innovation is very important, because I think we have to get one step up in terms of innovation.
Thank you, Pedro. I think you also more or less covered a few different questions that I have for you in your introduction, but that's good. We'll come back on maybe your experience versus what you see overseas later versus Malaysia in a bit. And last but not least, I think Sam, Nayo, you've been with Nayo for the past 7 months now? 7 months? How has it been like?
Thank you, Sue. And first of all, congratulations to AIBP for having this event once again. I can see that the chairs are all taken up. And also congrats for putting a woman with 3 other guys or 4 other guys, because otherwise there's no diversity. So AI is about diversity. I just want to start there, because we see that when the narrative of artificial intelligence comes from only one source, then we are in big trouble. So we need to get the narrative of AI coming from many sources, many types of knowledge base, domains and industries. And we saw this actually starting all the way back since 1956. AI started back then, 1956. But at that time, like I said, it came from only one source, scientific domain. You need a PhD in computer science and mathematics and a mainframe to run AI. So that's the single source at that time. But these days, that same capability are in your hands, in your phone, in your car. So devices are getting more and more powerful. So Malaysia saw that we cannot be left behind, otherwise Malaysia will be left die standing, I have to say. Because the other neighbors and also the world, like what Pedro was saying, they are moving super fast. You will, if you Google up the amount of activities in AI investments happening all over the world, plus the usual suspects, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and many others putting effort and conversation into AI, you know this is a hot space. So, saying that, being a hot space, Malaysia needs a bit of framework to go forward. Otherwise, it's like rojak, I go here and you go there, and there's gaps everywhere. So next month in August, Malaysia will have the ASEAN AI Summit. Please block your calendar, because at that time, Malaysia will have a few things that we've been asking for. Like, do we have a game plan? Do we have responsible AI guidelines? Do we have the right people and players? Do we have international attention? And many, many more. So a lot of questions will be answered at this event next month. But saying that, it is also not just having answers, but also to be able to lead everybody else down this AI journey. Meaning, your uncle, anak saudara, pakcik, aunties, everybody need to know that AI is not going away. As a matter of fact, if you look at some scenarios, aging people, your mom and dad, for example, living alone back in the kampong, they have no one to talk to. But we have ChatGPT or some AI form that we talk to. So there's this journey where there's a lot of evolution that may happen. AI for aging population, AI for healthcare, AI for transportation, and AI in schools. So everybody needs to be given some sort of a guidance, guideline, like a book on how do we all go forward. If you are an engineer, if you are a student, you are SME, you are unemployed, how do you use AI to make yourself better? All this will be answered pretty soon, because there is a call to action for all of us, especially the country per se, not just enterprises, not just government, but individuals and companies. So that's what the National AI Office was set up for. Long answer to your question. But it's set up also not to just touch and go, meaning you just disappear after that. It's also set up because there is this whole moving landscape of how do we make AI safe. We are hearing or seeing so many news these days on not only AI being used by good people, but AI being used by bad people. And the incentive for those that are doing bad things are a lot bigger than the incentive for people that are doing good. So apart from having an AI Act, which I will not talk about, that's more in the law and regulation and other things, apart from that, we all need more guidance. That's what NIO is doing. For example, we need more standards. We need more ethical documents. We need more guidelines and framework and things like how do we share data. The philosophy of, for example, in some situation, we bring AI into our organization, our data cannot go anywhere. In some situation, we bring our data to the AI. The perfect example of bringing our data to AI is what all of you are doing every hour. You contribute your data to social media. And you're doing it. And so you're putting your data into AI, which does not even sit in Malaysia. And guess what's been monetized? You. You don't want that same situation in very sensitive ecosystem like healthcare, defense. You don't want defense data to go to AI. You want the other way. You want the AI to come to where the data is. So all this thinking, guidance, navigation, that's what National AI Office does.
Thank you. I think I see a lot of questions coming in, right? And I guess setting the tone of today's discussion is all about how can we scale AI and maintain the global competitiveness. And I think Sam, you mentioned a lot about what NIO is working towards, and next month the event itself. But maybe before next month we'll start having a little bit of difficult questions to address. that's coming in from the audience itself, right? Because I think one thing that stood out to me when we did the poll earlier on was about responsible AI. And there are a couple of questions that were mainly asking about while we look at like AI infrastructure, how can we make sure that, what are your thoughts maybe around ethical AI, responsible AI, and also what kind of standards or can government or should government be intervening? I think this is mainly for Sam.
I was going to give a chance to speak first. They'll go later. Okay, yeah, responsible AI is a big conversation because the short answer is some jurisdiction, European Union, for example, they just slap automatically an AI act. That means you just got to know what the act is, and if you are in the game of building AI systems, you do anything wrong, you get caught, you go to jail. Malaysia, we are not going there yet. We have to build up the foundational component about making sure that we raise education level, we tell people what is responsible AI, what is ethical AI, and we also build in the other guidance that should come with it. Things like Data Sharing Act, which is already in place, Data Protection Act, Cybersecurity Act under CSM, and many more other peripheral ecosystem that needs to also come along as we build the other ecosystems. And as you may imagine, this is a journey because the technology players, the big tech guys, they are super far ahead. And if Malaysia doesn't have a cohesive action, we'll be super far behind. So therefore, there's all these other considerations that not only you as an enterprise need to know what to do when it comes to deploying AI, but do you have internal controls? Do you have internal guidance like when it comes to procurement? When you buy an AI system, does procurement know how to validate whether the AI system is sovereign or not? It's not just about where your data center is. It's about what about the model that you use, what about the data that you contribute, and other things. So procurement needs to have some sort of answer. Risk management, some sort of answer. So some things you don't need the government to do it now, you can do it first, so that you can build that safeguard responsible AI within your enterprises. Standards is one of them, where it can be a collective of standards that we develop for the industry, or it can be something internal to your organization. But don't stop there, because it's not just about the AI in your organization, but it's also about AI for the public. Once the AI is being used by the public, be transparent about it. You don't want the public to question, why did the AI decide this for me? Be open about it. So hence, the 7 elements of national AI guidelines and ethics that mostly came out 2 years ago. And there'll be more and more of this guidance document that the government will give out that you should download and study them and implement in your AI systems. The 7 elements are things like transparency, pursuit of human happiness, human in the loop, and many more, which we can get it from the MOSTI website.
Thank you, Sam. And I think what Sam mentioned echoed across like the industries that we cover, because all these are heavy, critical, heavy sector and also very compliant sectors. And maybe I would get the perspective from like Dr. Siu first, right? Because I think a couple of questions is also around how is the banks, where do you see banks' AI models being compliant, and how are you ensuring that it's compliant with like the AI ethics for most of the data and the AI use case that you're building?
Thank you. So maybe I would just start from even beyond banking, not only banking, because I'm not sure about Pedro. Generally, banking are very conservative. We find it very difficult to innovate because of the restrictions we have. But we're trying to change that. I think the difference between the previous technological innovation or industrialization, right, compared to what we are facing here is, I think previously it's more about productivity improvements, right? It's more about how we can have low input but have higher output, whether it's fewer people, we can have more information and so on. But I think this time round is slightly different. I think this time round is not only about productivity or efficiency improvement, it's also influencing how we think. So I think when we come to responsible AI, I think it's not about deep fake only, right? I think especially some of you might have seen in social media, there are CEOs of a bank saying that you should invest in here. Obviously, those are not actually from the actual CEOs. But I think even in the day-to-day social medias, we are being influenced by AI. So AI or technology today is influencing the psychology, the society, how people vote, how children, when they're exposed to certain social media, how they behave. And obviously, in some country, they're trying to restrict children, right, to get exposed to new technology or limit the exposure to technology. I think that is broader than just productivity improvements and broader than just how we make sure that in banks we use AI to serve our customer responsibly. So the responsibility should not be only thinking about regulator, government, frameworks, processes. I think as maybe as parents, for example, right, how we guide our children. So I think that's, as a society, I think we need to think about that. While AI gives us a lot of benefits, but I think how we use it is important. Now back in Maybank, so we actually have, to me, sometimes it's too stringent way of testing models or industrializing our AI tools. Because we have to go through a very stringent process, and sometimes we gear towards the fact that, if we are not sure, let's not do it, even though there's benefits, because we are regulated by Bank Negara, and we also have a presence in other countries, so Singapore, MAS, Indonesia, OJK. So we have a specialized team developing AI. We also have another team actually looking at checking AI, which is developing the framework to make sure that the model are tested, there are no biases, right? If you're not sure, then maybe we don't do it now. So there's some sort of a check and balance. So it's beyond the security, but also biases, privacies, and so on. But having said that, I think we need to move along. We need to move faster. So rather than only thinking about the negative side, I think as a bank, we think that that's not an option. Because at the end of the day, a bank, in fact, we are a data company. So we're not producing any products, as in chairs, laptops, and so on. We are essentially a data company that offering, our product is essentially data, which is financial product. So this is a journey that we have to go through, and we will work with the industrial partner. But one thing for sure is we have to use machine to check machine. We cannot rely on people to check machine. So the process that we put in place is actually, most of them probably not relevant anymore because they're relying on people to check the products. I think, so that's the direction that we have to head to. We have to develop the AI model to check another AI model.
I like what you mentioned about how do you get machine to check machine and AI to check AI. And I think, Pedro, you do have some experience in this segment, and you mentioned a little bit in your book. Maybe your thoughts from or for CIB perspective, right? Because a couple of questions that come here is very much around data. How does CIMB balance data accessibility with security and compliance?
Was how do banks remain compliant, right? And again, I'm going to talk about banking in general, and as you have said, banks in this country and in any country in the world are supervised by the respective central bank, in this case, Bank Negara Malaysia. Banks have very large teams for compliance. All of them. There is always a head of ethics. There is always a very robust process for deploying IT systems, including AI, right? So IT systems have to be checked before they are deployed. There is a risk assessment. When you are procuring a system, an AI system from a vendor, there is a risk assessment. There are data privacy teams. So there is cybersecurity teams. So banks are extremely prepared for compliance, for data security, for cybersecurity. It's extremely unlikely that a bank is not going to be compliant. That is more likely to happen in other industries that are not regulated just because of the nature of it, right? So industries that are more internet native, newer industries, I don't know, e-commerce, retail, all these industries that are not regulated are much more likely to have problems in terms of unethical use of AI than a bank. This is true for Malaysia, and this is true for I would say any country in the world.
Thank you, Pedro. And I think maybe a little bit more difficult question since Datuk Megat, you're the most senior here. Because some of the questions here are very much about organization, right? And as the CEO of Tenaga, you have to manage this a bit here and there. So, I mean, number one question, how do people request for budgets to run certain pilots for AI? What do you see, what are the things that you track when it comes to new budgets requests or new use case requests?
Thank you very much. I think maybe I probably go one step before that. I think for Tenaga, we mentioned about ethics and scalability. I think those are the two objectives that we want to achieve. And from the organization point of view, we are very clear that scaling AI is the business imperative. But at the same time, we understand that scale with ethics. So to be able for us to do that, within the organizations, we provide the policy guidance on how this scaling with ethics come into the picture. So we put up a framework with respect to the purpose of getting the AI itself. So we define 4 specific purposes for AI application within the organization to ensure that we are very much ethical in the objective that you want to achieve. So it is about revenue growth, it is about cost reduction, it is about objective of customer experience, business efficiency, it is about minimizing or reducing the risk for the organization. So that is the first step that we have taken with respect to implementing the AI within Tenaga Nasional. And after that, we look across the so-called the elements of intelligence that's available, whether it is the kind of, it is with respect to the technique of video or imaging, with respect to technique of forecasting, whether the technique of trying to do the expert system that we have. So within that technique, we look across at the value chain of Tenaga Nasional, which come from generation, transmission, distribution, as well as the customer fronting. So for example, we look at how AI can provide us the best outcome with respect to the coal blending that will minimize the carbon emission for a power plant, but at the same time achieve the best generation efficiency. So this kind of, I would say, purpose make it very, very ethical. And as you can see, the objective is beyond the company. We are talking about climate resiliency, for example, with respect to carbon emission. So this cut across with respect to the organization. And we are also looking at the asset performance, for example. How best we predict, I think my colleague is here. They are the one doing it, Zahari and the team. How best we predict the life of the cable that supply to the customers so that we minimize the interruptions, or we forecast and do something before breakdown happen. So this is for a customer experience, but at the same time reliability of the system. So these are the fundamental elements that we put in place with respect to where to play and also how to win. So on top of this policy guidance, we also look at these so-called AI-human interactions. So we understand that the perspective of AI, we can have models that relate very much to human interaction. And for a power company like us, we believe that this is very much required. So we look at the 4 model of application of AI, whether it is man in the loop, meaning that human is required to put input, man on the loop. Sorry, I'm not sexist. it's not a gender-based, it's a or human in the loop, human on the loop, human over the loop, but human out of the loop. So this is also a very critical element where ethics come into the picture. So we feel that the human interaction is still required. So most of our application now focus on human in the loop application, so that we combine the intelligence of the artificial plus the human. So these are the framework that we are looking at. So with respect to the performance of measurement, which is what your question is, we also identified and create the AI Power Index, as we call it. And there are 3 components that we measure today. First is actually the business value realization, what the value it gives with respect to the AI, whether it is customer experience, or whether it is revenue growth. So that is one component. The second is the utilization of AI within the organization. So here we look at the employees participant. How many employees now can actually write a code with respect to the AI applications? And I think that one of the utilization we look, employee participation. And the fourth is actually building capability. So here we are talking about the employees being able to have access to capability building, and how many employees that have gone into the, for example, basic awareness of AI, up to being able to do the coding. So here, Tenaga Nasional, I think we are probably a bit lucky. I consider myself lucky because we have a corporate academy. So we are using the corporate academy where we actually give the awareness from users to builders with respect to AI. So this is where the opportunity of our employees to be part and parcel of it. So these are the 3 metrics that become the guidance of the performance or adoption of AI, business value, participation, and also capability building. So on the capability, I also would like to share that Tenaga Nasional have a university, UNITEM. Probably many of us is aware. And recently we launched a degree program called Bachelor of Science in Artificial Intelligence. So that is started in June 2025. So last month, fresh from the oven. So I encourage and would like to do some pitching here for the university, in the sense that any of the talent of Malaysian are welcome to actually take a course in AI, so that the ecosystem for the country will be better in the future. Thank you.
That, I think, should be music to your ears, right, Sam? Because I think we are looking to build a sustainable talent pipeline, especially when it comes to AI. In the interest of time, right, I have just one last question to each of our panelists, right? I think maybe looking at what's the most liked question here. What if, let's say, you have to look back at the journey and you have more time, more resources, what do you think AI? What would you invest in on AI, and what would you encourage people to look at AI differently?
If you have the ability to go back time, Malaysia, I have to speak on behalf of Malaysia because that's what National AI Office has been tasked for. I would say there are 2 parts. Number one is we and all of you should actually spend more resources into research and development. Research and development grant or funding, as you know, it's not cheap. It's sometimes some people say money down the drain, but it is necessary, because you can see when it comes to the topic of AI, the companies that invest most in research and development are the ones that's driving the conversation now. I was in a meeting in Bangkok recently, and the smaller countries, much smaller than Malaysia, they all are countries are coming together to stand in front of big technology companies. That's what's happening now. Big tech is controlling AI conversation. Smaller countries have got lesser ability because they don't have the ownership of IPs. They don't have any other legal, not say legal standing, but they don't have much bargaining power. So more and more countries are coming together because they need to have that collective authority to stand against what AI may be of negative coming from the big technology companies. And you see the amount of investment. For example, the latest one is OpenAI just came out with a new academy, and they've been hiring so many people, and they're putting a lot of money into where AI is going to go. And this is in the deep science space. So if I were to turn back time, research and development into deep science, number 2 is actually putting a lot of AI philosophy and framework into our school education. NIO is actually talking to the Ministry of Education, Higher Education, and many more, and most of them are coming up with AI-aware syllabus and framework ecosystem coming up soon. But if we were to turn back time, it should have been done earlier. So that then our kids are not just using AI as just for joy, but our kids are actually using AI very well aware of the disadvantages and the advantages. AI, I have to remind everybody, is just a tool. And if one is not sure of your core calling, that means you don't know why you became a doctor, why you became an engineer, for example, then a tool can replace you. But if you are very sure of why you joined university, Uni 10, to take up the Bachelor of Science, you're very sure why you're doing it. Then the second action after that is you want to use the best tools to support why you are doing it. Therefore, you will use AI. So to me, that calling of you need to know your inner self, what is your superpower. You can be a teacher, you can be a chef, you can be a technologist, and therefore, once you know and you polish that up, you know that your next aim is to find the best tools. AI is the best tools. The third one, if I were to say, is the more we use AI, unfortunately, the more energy we all will use. And that goes back to TMV. But energy consumption of AI engines are a lot more hungrier. And to be honest, we don't have an answer yet on how do we make AI more energy efficient. It will just go up and up and up. Because once you use an AI search, you don't use normal search. Because AI is so convenient. But is there an answer behind the scene in the server room, in the data center that actually reduces energy? No. So we are all out there in the quest of trying to figure out how much natural resources of energy that we need to really have, because in a meeting like this, we are telling everybody to start to use AI.
Thank you. So we need to use more AI, but we need, I think Dato' Magasa is using AI to try to optimize the energy as well. So it's chicken and egg. Let's see. Pedro, any last words about, yeah.
I don't think it. I don't know. Hello? Yes. Well, I think what Sam is saying is totally true, right? I used to work in Thailand for 3 years. Before that, I was in Malaysia, and after that, I came back to Malaysia. And Thailand is extremely innovative in digital technologies, AI. Most of the banks in Thailand have been for long on the cloud, for example. And people are very digital. They are very, very innovative. The IT spend per GDP in Thailand is quite high. Actually, I saw some statistics from some of these consulting companies where Malaysia has a lower IT spend per GDP than Thailand. So if there is something that I would change, if we could go back in time 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, is how could we have made the country more innovative? Because I think that's really the key, right? How can we invest more in digital, invest more in AI, find new ways of doing what we are doing in ways that are more efficient, taking leadership in certain industries. I mean, in palm oil, we are leader in certain industries, right? How can we do more of that? How can we have people that are hungrily looking for opportunities about doing things better, right? And I think that in some cases, some countries in Southeast Asia are getting very much ahead. If you look at Vietnam, if you look at Thailand, we were talking about Thailand. Even if you look at Indonesia, right? In Indonesia, they have invested so much in technology. They have gone so much ahead in certain things, right? Like with Gojek and the e-commerce companies over there, right? I think that is what I would want to change, but it would require to go back, not a few years, but a little bit longer to create this spirit of innovation in the newer generations.
Thank you, Pedro. Dr. Siu.
So if you were to turn back in time, what would we do differently? I think today for the AI development, I think the problem is not in ideation. In fact, we find that there are too many ideas that you can access quite easily. Because if you go to search in Google, AI use cases, you probably get a few thousands quite easily. So I think ideation is not an issue. I think the issue is industrialization. So how we industrialize the idea so that it can come up to a real tangible benefits for the organizations. So the phase that we have gone through in Maybank was there's a lot of excitement, a lot of hype in AI, and because the ideas come out so easily. And I also have team members that over the weekend they come up with a POC. And we have many POCs ideas. But when it comes to, okay, how we productionize it, how we industrialize it, that is not over the weekend you can do. That will take months to do it because you need to have the basic foundation to set up. So I think if we were to do it again, I think we really need to have the discipline. So it's less about investment or infra. I think it's a discipline first to say that, right, can we maybe just pick one business line to make sure that we accelerate the industrialization. As an example, let's say SME. Can we have our SME business to be the leading edge in terms of powering by AI? And then show what really good look like in the organization. Obviously, there will be a lot of noise. They'll say, why you don't do it? Why you don't do it? This industry, this product, this service, why you don't help me on my demand and so on. But for the benefit of the organization, maybe we need to show what good look like in a very clear vertical first. Then we build the foundation using that vertical. And then once we build that achievements and shows that how it can benefit the customers, how it can benefit the organization, and we know how to do it, then we can replicate very quickly. So that's one thing, I think, discipline, focus, I think that's one. The other thing is, personally, I think we could have adopted cloud-based technology much faster. Especially as a bank, I think bank has been very careful. If you really want to scale up AI, I think it's inevitable that you need to access to technologies that are enabled in the cloud environment, especially when it comes to data analytics. So that will be the two things: discipline, right? Pick a focus area that we make it leading edge, and then the second one is probably be faster in terms of adopting cloud-enabled technology.
Thank you, Dr. Siu. And last but not least, Dr. Mugat.
Okay, thank you very much. I think in the last session, I think what Tenaga Nasional would like to actually promote and play a role is actually beyond the company itself. So what we would like to see happening is that on the national agenda, I think Pedro mentioned a lot about Malaysian. I think on the national agenda, probably that the number of things that we can actually promote. I think number one is actually to probably the country has a clear AI objective, a common objective. So is it we want to focus on energy transition, for example? Is it about food production? Is it about climate resiliency? So I think if we have one or two, three good objectives for the country as part of the AI objective, then it will actually propel the industry. Second is we know that the bedrock of artificial intelligence is data. So we would like to see a framework that curates a data sharing among the companies like us, here are government agency as well as state players. I think this is key. If the data sharing will be made convenient to all the industry players. The third is, of course, we are looking at the country, how best we promote AI with respect to the incentive that the players can have, apart from the so-called the benefit that each company can get. There could be some kind of a good incentive for us to play within the ecosystem. So what I'm trying to say is that Tenaga would like to promote the ecosystem play of AI and for the country, and I believe this is going to be the best way forward, so everybody has a common objective, has a common data, and benefit from the incentive that it may as part of the ecosystem. So lastly, I think Mr. Samsul mentioned about energy and AI. So we are thinking about a tagline, energy for AI, AI for energy. Maybe that be the tagline in the future, because we understand today the AI element of data center is actually providing the positive growth of electricity industry in this country. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and I like how Datuk Megat ended off the panel quite aptly. We are all here to kind of collaborate and build up the ecosystem from a technology perspective, innovation perspective, and thank you everyone for your attention. Pass it back to Wai Wai.
My jokes are not landing at all today, but it shows that I'm not AI. That's the difference between AI and human, right? Humans can still make humor, hopefully. I'll try a little bit harder. From the panel, we talked a lot about like how Malaysia is working on AI, how you're looking at scaling AI. We talk about the ASEAN AI that NAYO is looking at. We look at university courses that the team is looking. Of course, we have author, parent,